This is Dr. Jackie Jacob, Poultry Extension Associate at the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture. Today we're here with the pen that Steve just finished making and showing how it can be used effectively in a pasture poultry system. When using the pen in pastures, it's important that you place it out of the direct wind. As we saw when we constructed it, the pen has an open front. Make sure that this front is not facing the wind and rain as it comes in. It's also important to place it on pastures that are not wet, so make sure you have well-drained pastures. Birds can tolerate a wide range of temperatures, including winter temperatures, as long as they don't get wet. Poorly drained pastures will lead to wet birds and can be a problem. Also, you need to use age-appropriate timing for putting your birds on the pasture. Young birds are not able to adjust their body temperature for environmental conditions for about the first 3 weeks. So it's important to provide them with supplemental heat during that time. Obviously, it's going to be hard to put supplemental heat out on pasture, so typically broilers or growing chicks aren't placed till after 3 weeks of age. It's also important to not overcrowd the birds. This pen that we did, 110 inches by 110 inches, will hold different numbers of birds depending on the type of bird and the age. So for example, you could comfortably put in 50 broilers, keeping them confined daily, or 20 laying hens, and perhaps 10 turkeys. Make sure that the birds have fresh, clean water at all times. Adjust the height of the feeder and water to the age and size of the birds. And make sure your food doesn't get wet. Wet feed soon becomes moldy feed, and mold produces mycotoxins. So even though you remove the mold, the toxins remain and can have adverse effects on both the health and performance of the birds. Again, Steve told you about adjusting the tarp depending on the weather. You need it closed up a little bit more in cold weather so they don't get drafts, and open a little more in the summer so that they can have better ventilation. Move the pen as frequently as necessary by the amount of manure that's produced by your flock. As the birds get older, that can be more frequently, especially broilers. And also use proper pasture management. As you can see in here, the grass is quite short. Birds cannot make use of long, tall grass. If you are putting them on pasture with long grass, they will just flatten it and get no use out of it. So you may have to mow beforehand, or put a ruminant grazing animal first. Rotate the pastures as needed. You shouldn't put your pen back on the same pasture until it's had time to recover. To summarize these points, place the pen on well-drained pastures. Place the pen so that it is facing away from adverse weather. Use age-appropriate placement of the birds on pasture. Make sure that the birds have fresh, clean water at all times. Adjust the height of the feed and water for the age of the birds. Make sure the feed does not get wet. Adjust the tarp as required for the temperature. Move the pen as frequently as needed based on how much manure they're producing, and use proper pasture poultry management. This is Dr. Jackie Jacob, Poultry Extension Associate at the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture. For more information on poultry production, including pasture poultry, go to extension.org.